Hello everyone, and thank you for joining me, Amber Bach, for my Week 6 presentation, The Hatch Act and Political Neutrality, for Dr. David Powell's class, MPA 540, Public Personnel Management. So first I wanted to talk about the Hatch Act itself. It was enforced in 1939, and it was implemented by Senator Carl Hatch from New Mexico after federal employees were being forced or coerced into campaigning for a specific political party. So this was meant to regulate the political activity of federal employees while on the job. So this is just to create that political neutrality on the job as a public servant and is not supposed to affect them outside of being paid by the taxpayers. So federal programs are meant to be administered in a nonpartisan fashion. It is meant to protect employees from coercion, and it's meant to encourage advancement based on merit rather than political affiliation. So immediately I thought about Chester Arthur and the Pendleton Act of 1883 and the necessity to make sure that the spoils system was gone away with, and they implemented a merit system instead so that the efficiency is increased due to the people actually having skills and abilities to perform their job duties rather than, oh, this was my friend who supported me throughout my entire political campaign, so I'm just going to give them a position as the director of education. So instead, someone actually has to be qualified and have knowledge on the subject matter to perform the job. And then I also immediately thought about Max Weber and the bureaucratic management theory, because that also emphasized advancement and position placement based on merit rather than personal relationships with someone else in the company. So going over some of the pros of the Hatch Act, number one being the emphasis on political neutrality. As a public figure, someone working in the government, they may have influence over others, whether they know it or not. Someone may look up to them just because of their power and their status in society, and could possibly influence someone's decision if they are backing a certain candidate or certain party. And as a public administrator, their sole duty is to administer or implement the public policy that the lawmakers provide. Number two, it eliminates coercion and essentially promotes job security. So some politicians are willing to provide bribes in money or even just threaten someone's job that if they do not follow them or support them, then they will essentially lose their job if they are successfully voted in and they did not decide to back them. So it helps the public administrator be able to do their job and maintain that political neutrality because they don't have that fear of being fired. Another pro is the encouragement of the merit system over a spoil system. So someone is not going to be able to just ride the coattails of that political figure and obtain a position because of their personal relationship with them. That person actually has to have the knowledge and skills and abilities necessary to perform the position that they are provided. Unfortunately, there are some cons, as with a lot of acts or laws that are passed. First one is many people say that it restricts the First Amendment right of public employees or civil servants because they're unable to support who they want to support or speak about an issue that they are opposed to or they are a proponent for. However, it only restricts that free speech, essentially, while they are on the job and being paid by the taxpayers. So it's just to prevent their swaying or influence on the taxpayer's dime. And then the second con is it limits transparency. So people still want to talk about it and do what they want to do, so they'll just do it under the table, and there will be political activity going on underground when it would just be in the better interest of society to have that out in the open and just speak about it if it's that important. So my thoughts on the provision, the Hatch Act is necessary despite its cons. Yes, I can see the aspect of it limiting free speech and sometimes being a little excessive. However, it's necessary for a public administrator to be neutral and not let the political game influence their job or productivity. And as a public administrator, they do have a lot of influence potentially over the people in which they serve. So if they campaign for someone or they have a lot of influence in that particular city or county and a lot of people look up to them, then they are going to potentially sway those people's votes just due to their power and their likability. So it's important to remain neutral just on the job. Whatever they want to do outside of the job, I believe, go ahead, support who you want to support. But when it comes to being on the taxpayer's dime, they need to remain neutral and just implement the public policy that is provided by the lawmakers. Thank you everyone for watching my presentation. These are my references, and I hope you have a great weekend.